Welcome to Rudomotive and another Rud Rod episode. My entire life outside of work, kind of. Not entirely, but mostly. Now, starting this one off a little different because had my oldest out here helping me the other day so I could get her kind of set up because, well, getting it to this date by myself would have sucked. Plus, he's interested in learning, so why not take advantage of that and teach him while I have time to? Now, this was gonna kind of be the whole episode up to this point, but not, right? So where I'm at is I've got my 24-inch spacing. I've got everything leveled thanks to my ghetto shims, which is kind of just garbage, but it worked for the moment. I'm gonna actually end up 3D printing shims for doing things going forward, but haven't got to that. Hopefully I get off my ass and do that tonight. So now what are we looking at? You've got your 35-degree angle here for the front, your 45 here. I do have 3¼ to 3½ spacing here. I can't exactly remember exactly. In my SolidWorks model, it shows 3.3. I think I'm actually pretty close when I hit it with the tape measure. So that I'm pretty proud of myself. Now, all of these are just tack welded, and yeah, they look like crap. I know. But I hadn't realized until I was out here with my son and I had to re-tack some that I just didn't have the heat turned up. So I went off of Vulcan's got this little diagram and you open it up, and I went off of the thickness of the wire and then the thickness of the material, and I went off their recommended. Yeah, it wasn't enough heat. So that's why I kept breaking the joints when I was welding because, well, I just wasn't hitting it up with enough heat. Now, thankfully, I found that out before I started welding too much and did a bunch of crap. So since it's just the tack welds, it's not great, but it's technically not an issue. So this episode, I will go through and get everything welded here. I will get all of these guys, right, tacked in. I do want to actually take these two and center them. So I got to adjust those two. I am running into an issue. This is bowed out a bit. So this is wider than I like. Everything that you see the bar at, man, let her focus. See the bar at is 24 inches. Yeah, 24 inches gap to gap, right? Inside to inside. Up here is a lot more than that. I want to say it's like 25. Not good. Not happy. However, I bought 2 more clamps so I can pull that in when I go to tack weld this. I also have a runner going like here for the triangulation on the top for the axle. So that'll help pull it in as well. And then I'll have the framing for the fuel cell back here that'll pull it in as well. So things will hopefully fix that gap. I will find a way to correct it because it's going to have to be correct as I start using these for my suspension mounts, right? Like this has to be centered. I can't have any weird sways. I can't have any weird angles. Like it's all got to be squared out. Sorry if I'm making this blurry doing this. Oof. Maybe I got to cut back on that a little bit. And then, yeah, the front I'm not overly happy with. So everything is flush as you start going through and level, right? We're good. We're nice and level. Should say level, not flush. Center-wise, I can cross and it'll be level. Same with the back. The front, I do not like these. I don't like them. It is not the choice I would have made, but it's where we're at. Now, I will probably end up cutting these off. I'm going to be honest. I will probably end up cutting them off. Not saying that I won't do something similar, but they are not symmetric. And if I plan on using them for any form of mounting, like for coilovers, for headlights, they're just going to be wonky. And I'm either going to have to make bracketry different or the side to side's just not going to match. So that'll be something I figure out in the future. There's a good chance I will keep that same look, but maybe not. We'll see. That's a problem for future me. And remember, like I said, I am doing brackets or braces, whatever you want to call them. Sheet metal that'll go over each weld, inside and out, front and back. I'm actually going to use them as well to help line up where I need to put my suspension stuff, where that goes as well too. So there are benefits to doing that. And yeah, we're going to kick back into the work I did with my son. So you'll see the process that went into this. It was a lot of triangle and clamps and moving, and yeah, not overly fancy. And then from there, I'll just kick into welding. And I don't know that I'm going to have this video be a bunch of, back and forth, because it's really not a whole lot of crazy. I just walked you through everything I'm doing. And then the next episode will be cab mounts. So, get to work. majority of the welding's done. Yeah, I mean, realistically, a majority is done. Now, all my lower cross braces, I just did a good tack on all 4 sides. We'll see if it's good enough. Hopefully it is, because that's less work I have to do when I go to remove them. If it's not, well, then she'll fall apart in complete catastrophe at that point. Being, ridiculous, but still, it won't be good. So maybe I should have added a little more, but for the most part, they are really solid tacks, and I'm not going to be doing anything like crazy to beat this thing up. Eventually, I will start cross bracing everything legitimately. I just have more work to do before I get to that point. Now, my welds aren't great. They are flappy disc approved. Some are better than others for sure. The tops look terrible because I did a terrible job tacking those when I was setting up all of the angles. So there was not much fixing that. Now, pretty sure I said if I brought you back, it was going to be done, but I figured I would do an intermission on the work. I didn't record all of it because, well, it was the same damn thing. Sit there and, tack weld the hell out of it. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take out all of the clamps and hope she don't fall apart. That one already fell out, so cool. But take all those out, and then I'm going to have to flip it up on its side, and I'm going to have to get all of the bottoms. After the bottoms are done, I will go through. Sorry, my dog's doing dog things. This is what she wanted. Come on, Cara. Join me for my video. Okay, so back to where I was at is I'm going to flip this up. I'm going to weld all of the bottom, and I'm going to flappy disc the bottom there. And then I will set her back down and flappy disc the rest. And then if I have any holes, I'll go through and hit those and flappy disc them. But the goal is that everything is smooth, with the exception, of course, of the tacks on these little guys, because those are irrelevant. But yeah, I want all of these smooth, so then when I go to put my plates over there for reinforcing all of the joints, they'll sit flush. And I don't know if I'm going to flappy disc those when I put them on, or if I'm just going to try and weld them nice. Hello, Spooby. They're not fans of me welding because, well, they can't be out here. I'm missing a 4th one, so I'm also going to say wearing a long sleeve shirt when it's over 100 out really sucks, but at least this isn't my full-time job, so I feel for you welders, because I'm sure you're in a lot worse places with a lot more PPE on, really sweating it out, so really can't bitch that much. What I can do is get my ass back to work. done for the night and for the video. So what did I do? Well, I welded a chassis, kind of. It's actually not as bad as I really thought it would have been, just because those tack welds really threw me off. So I did have to go through and do some touch-ups, but everything is, grinded smooth-ish, flappy disked anyways. But it's good enough that I can definitely put my bracing plates on, or whatever you want to call them. Feel free to correct me in the comments, because I keep calling them different names. But the plates I'll put over where all the joints are. Now, these spots, right, the inner angles sucked, and I did terrible. Those are the spots I'm really not overly happy with. I went through and basically touched all of them up, and then re-flappy disked them. So I went through, did the flappy disk. I'm explaining this because I didn't record all of it, because it's a few hours worth of work, and I'm drenched. Long sleeve in the summer is not fun. But I went through and flappy disked the one side, got that down. Went through, spot welded anything that basically either didn't grind flush or ended up being a hole, right? So since my first tack welds weren't hot enough, I had some repairs to do. But, you live and you learn. And I am doing this by learning. So you got to do your first chassis eventually, and well, ideally you'd probably have more welding under your belt, because, well, without the bracing plates, there's a good chance I would just die. And, whatever, I guess. Probably should be more positive about it. But most of it's good, and I got good penetration, so the welds are all the way through, everything's grinded, so it's just not, it's not professional grade, of course. I'm learning, and, just got to tackle it and improve as you learn. And my last welds were definitely better than my first welds, and really today, my welds were pretty good. I'm very happy with what turned out today. It's really those tack welds that threw me off. So if I was just basing off my welds today, I'd be pretty damn happy. And, doing these kind of joints anyways, like, no matter what, with just that, I think I would always brace them. Like, it's just not worth the risk. Now, if you're going through and you've got something that bends all of this, so you don't have those bracings, or you do more of a section, so you've got more material bonded, then maybe you wouldn't need to. But I also kind of like the look if you do the bracing well. I've said bracing a lot. So next steps are going to be getting the cab on here, getting my spacers printed so that I can set the cab where I want it, and then it'll be going through doing the cab mounts. So that's my very next video, is cab mounts. In between there, I'm going to go take measurements and make sure everything's squared up and verify all of that, just to feel more comfortable. And right now is the time to fix anything, right, before I'm too far, because I have no legitimate cross members in there. They're back. Oh, I normally don't like them in here after I've been grinding, but can't have them out there barking. I'm almost done. So, but yeah, none of these are legit, of course. They're just there to set my spacing. The back will probably be the first one to go legit-ish, but that's once I figure out bed length and that, because what I'm doing design side is I've got the cab mounts done. My triangulated 4-link for the back is almost done as well. It's really just if I want to decide on doing the coilovers in the model now or later. And I kind of want to figure it out now, but I haven't exactly figured out if I want to do some kind of cantilever for front and back, or that I haven't fully fleshed that part of it out, so that's kind of a stall up. But I can go through and I can design, I'm going to say it again, all my damn bracing and get that all ordered. So at least that'll be good to go. Um, yeah, I'm tired, and it wouldn't be a legit end of a video if I wasn't starving. So instead of rambling on saying a bunch of nothing, I'm going to cut it off here. Feel free to comment with questions. I'm doing this to hopefully inspire you guys to just go out and do things, right? I've never done this before. I've always wanted to. I want to be a car builder, maybe race cars. I don't know, maybe. But I definitely want to build and create, and I want to inspire people to do the same. So ask questions, like, subscribe, share, do you. If you're enjoying it, I'm happy you're enjoying it. If you're not, let me know why. And, I'll leave it at that. Have a good one.